So we are human beings. We're not human doings. And we now, in this day and age, we define ourselves by doing, not by being.
Welcome to a new episode of Most Memorable Journeys. My guest today is a very good friend who I don't really know that long yet, but it's kind of a soul sister who I found and feel like we have known each other much longer than we actually have. She is the owner and creator of World Outdoor Fitness, but more important, she is the author of a book called Surrendering: How I Learned Letting Go. Welcome to Most Memorable Journey, Sarit Shavit Qwabe. I never know. Did I say that right?
Exactly right. Surprisingly right. It has an Israeli and a Zulu, and you got it all great together. Very nice.
So Shavit is your family name from Israel,
That's
and
correct.
Qwabe is your Zulu husband's family name.
That's right. Yes.
So you live in South Africa, but you weren't born there. Where were you? Obviously, now that we're saying it's an Israeli name, where were you born? Very funny, isn't it?
Yes, I was actually born and raised in Israel. I was born in 1973, right where 6 days before the Yom Kippur War broke out. And I lived there all my life. I went to university and met my husband there when he was traveling. And we got married. We had our kids in Israel. And at some point in 2008, we decided to move to South Africa. And we did it.
Now, all of this is written in that book. I read the book. I read the book actually very quickly, and I'm going to have to read it again and actually, I want to read this book. I want to have it in my hand. I'm not a good online reader.
I will bring one to you when I'm coming, I promise. You're actually the second person to read that book. The
Yes,
first
and
one
I
was the
really,
editor, and you are the second one.
I couldn't stop. It was very fascinating because there is so much. Like, I want to go back. You just summed this up so quickly, but what does a good girl from Israel, how does she end up marrying a Zulu man? Explain that to me.
It was just love at first sight. As corny as it sounds, it was just that. We laid eyes on each other in a Tel Aviv bar, and we looked at each other's eyes. And since that moment, we were literally inseparable. We tried. He went back to South Africa, then he came back. I came to South Africa. I went back to Israel, and eventually we said, "Okay, we can't fight it anymore. It's meant to be," and we just decided to move in together in Israel. And
I think
probably
that's
a year later, we were married. Yeah.
very, very beautiful. Was there any opposition from your family? Were they okay with it? Because it's not because he was from South Africa. Generally, very often our parents would like us to marry somebody from the same country, ideally maybe a child of their friends or something. Did your family mind at all?
He was actually everything that I shouldn't have because he was not Jewish, he was not Israeli, he was not white. He was nothing but surprise. I don't think it's surprisingly because that's the way I grew up. My family, as long as you love him, as long as he's a good person, You get along right, that's it. It's your decision. We're going to support you. And I had zero opposition or trying to sway me from it, from my family. I had just support, which is actually amazing when you think about it. Yeah.
It is because, sometimes, like people often say, I'm going to let my children do whatever they want. I want them to be happy. But when it actually happens, when they actually then do something, not everybody is 100% happy. It's easy to talk and then to actually walk your talk. That's a very beautiful story. And living in Israel was, and of course is at the moment as well, and all the time, it's always a little, I don't know, maybe not risky, but was safety one of the reasons why you moved?
Yes, it was very difficult. It's a difficult life. I think not just the situation all the time, the aggravation, and maybe the safety. And when you have kids, it becomes very pronounced that you want to protect them. We had a hard life when we were in Israel. It wasn't going smoothly between us as a couple and with the with work and with everything. And when the opportunity presented itself, we both wanted to grab this fresh start and say, okay, let's try somewhere else. Maybe it will be kinder to us. And it absolutely was. Yeah.
Had you been to South Africa before?
I just been for a visit, and we got married here, obviously, because we couldn't get married in Israel because he's not Jewish. So we got married here in South Africa, but I haven't lived in South Africa until we properly immigrated. In 2008.
How did that go? Tell me a little bit about how did you immediately feel comfortable? You're a person who easily makes friends. I would imagine that wasn't the problem.
No, it wasn't a problem. I was actually very excited about it. And I think I touch it a little bit in the book because, like I said, life in Israel was hard. And for a time, Junior's mom came to stay with us it was almost a year, and she helped me. And then I felt what it is like to really have live-in help. It changed my life completely, honestly. And even though I didn't know it then, I think I started manifesting all this back and more. Because when I came to South Africa, it was like a dream come true. I had this nice house with a pool, and I had a nanny, a maid. I had all the help that I wanted with my kids, and I could be the mommy that I wanted to be, not stressed out, having waking up every day at 6 o'clock, taking the kids to their kindergarten and everything, and then going to my job an 8 to 5, coming back, picking them up, cleaning, cooking, doing all the household chores. And it was very difficult. I didn't have the patience or the energy to be the mom that I wanted to be. And actually, when I came to South Africa, I got a very precious gift of time. So I could go and launch my business. I could pursue my career, my interest. I could be the mom that I wanted to be. Everything just falling into place for me. It was, I was very happy when I arrived here. The challenges, I think every country has its challenges. South Africa obviously has its challenges, and they are growing over the time that we've been here. But it is everywhere. I'm assuming in Cyprus it's the same, and I'm going to find them. And it's just a way of how you framing things and your set of how you look at things and you frame them in your set of mind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I totally agree. And I also agree with you with having help. I mean, I had help when my kids were small. And, sometimes I used to even feel a little bad about it. And then I used to sort of sit down with myself and say, are you crazy? Why are you feeling bad? If it's available, why not do it? Because you are not, first of all, you don't have to be a hero. And second, you are a much better mother when you are relaxed. Running around like crazy doesn't make you a better person generally. And it's the same with work. I mean, we should always get as much help as we possibly can. And getting help when you have small children is beautiful, because just thinking that every time you want to leave the house, if you don't have anybody, you have to take them with you. You have to dress them. You have to, it's so much easier when you have somebody there. I think that if you can arrange it for every mother, it's the best thing you can do, but not everybody can, of course.
Yes.
Now, living in South Africa, I have been to South Africa twice, and I remember South Africa as a very, very beautiful country, but there is also a safety issue in South Africa. There is quite a bit of crime. Did you come across difficult situations?
So not personally, very luckily, but it's all around you. And I mention it, you're careful, you're aware of it. So I compared it when people ask me, I compare it, in Israel, we used to drive after buses and you keep the distance from the bus because it might explode. Or when you go to a public place, a hospital or a mall or whatever, you used to be to the security guard checking you and looking in your bag. And in South Africa, you make sure when you stop at the robot that you look around you, who is around you, that no one is approaching your car to hijack you. You are alert. There's a very there's very high crime rate here. I was very lucky not to encounter it, but it's part of your psyche the same way, similar to Israel, but different. But I think the lifestyle and what South Africa afforded us as a family was unparalleled. And I'm not sorry at all that we came here and we built a life here. It was very good. That's why when I write in the book, I'm not giving my South Africa is wounded. I call it my South Africa now because it's been many, many years. It is wounded. It's on its knees, but I didn't give up hope. I think there is still hope. It's beautiful, an amazing country.
Yeah,
and the people are lovely.
Yeah, one of the things that you write about and that we have in common is you like nature. You like to go hiking. You like to go and listen to the birds. And I think there's plenty of that available in South Africa.
Yes, the nature, I think it's the number one point here. You have everything that you can dream of, from the cliffs to the sea to the tropical and then to the savanna and the more desert area. Wherever you're going to go in South Africa, you're going to find something that you like. And it's still, a lot of places are still wild. And that speaks to me. I love that. So I live right next to the botanical gardens, and at least once a week I would walk in the gardens and sit in front of the falls and have my morning coffee. And this is something that just fills my soul.
Natural meditation.
Yes.
You are the owner and creator of World Outdoor Fitness. Explain to the people who are listening what that is.
World Outdoor Fitness is a company that does outdoor gym equipment and playground equipment. So it's the same like a gym, like you go to an indoor gym. It's just that it's set out outside. So I think in Cyprus, there's already a few on the beachfront. Usually it's a favorite place. And in parks and everywhere. And I think in South Africa, it meant a great deal to me because we could bring a healthy lifestyle and fitness to people who would not able to afford it any other way. So in developed countries, more like recreational and for fun. And here we partnered with clinics and with villages where no gym or no Virgin Active is going to come and open the gym there because it's the poorest of the poor. And with just a nudge approach, we just put it there. And now there's something that is social and recreational. And people come and they just, you know what, let me try it. They put 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I get feedback that not just it reduces crime in those areas, it helps to combat lifestyle diseases, diabetes and hypertension, and all of it is going down actually in the areas where we put those gyms. So it makes a change, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, now the concept of this is that the people who invest in this, they don't charge afterwards. This equipment is outdoor and it's free.
Yes, it's free. The municipality usually, or the Rotary, or other organizations for charity, they will invest in it and they will put it in almost every location, a village, where as many as we can put out there. We also work in the private market, but that's okay. That's just business.
Would you be able to do that anywhere in the world, or are you restricted to South Africa?
No, I'm not restricted. We can do World Outdoor Fitness and franchise it anywhere. It's a business in a box. If someone listens to that and wants to do an outdoor gym, they can just contact me. But that's, I think I didn't really pursue it because I felt very fulfilled in terms of my career and then I wrote the book because I felt that's the next stage of the business. That's why even when I presented myself to you, I never presented myself to you as the owner of World Outdoor Fitness. It's a part of me now, but it's not in the front and it's not a shield or an armor like it used.
And you've done well because you've helped people get healthier and help people feel better. Yeah. Now, how did you end up in Cyprus? I know, but the people who are listening will want to know. I read it in the book, but what happened? This is an interesting combination. Normally, you would come from Israel to Cyprus. That's what a lot of people do now, but a little detour to South Africa.
Yes. So when I thought about, okay, my kids need to go to university and I want them to have the experience that I had when I was in university, and you really can't have it in South Africa. Honestly, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, there's plenty of students that go to universities in South Africa. And I wanted them to experience my heritage, my Mediterranean heritage, and to live somewhere which is completely safe because I'm a Jewish mother after all, and I will not sleep at night if I know they are out and about doing their things, maybe in a South African city. So I encourage them to go to university in Cyprus. We found the university in Cyprus, the European University in Nicosia, and for them to have a life there and to try to have a student life and see how it goes. And they are always able to make a decision about a way forward. Like, even if they finish the first year, okay, we like it, we don't like it, we want to go back, we love South Africa more. As long as you experience that, after that you make your own decision. And I think for myself, Cyprus is just beautiful. It's so amazing. It's such a jewel in the Mediterranean sea. It's just sitting here. Every time I come with the plane and I look down and I see it, it just fills my heart with joy. And I write in the book, when I went to Lidl, I went to Lidl in Paphos. It's like on the I don't know if you know it. It's like on the main avenue there, and I was taking my groceries and like my burekas and all my lovely like halloumi and Mediterranean stuff, and I'm packing it into the boot of the car, and I lift my eyes and I see the Mediterranean there, and it's so beautiful and so amazing, and like you're doing mundane everyday tasks in such beauty of creation. And I said, I have to do something about that. And I want to make it, even if we're not leaving South Africa, but at least a shared third home. That makes me happy. Because it makes me happy.
It does, and I like it. I like the fact that you love Cyprus this much, because I do too, and I am not from here. However, there's something that I want to say about this. You know, there are many, many people living in many, many beautiful places, and they do not notice how beautiful things are. Like what you are saying about putting your groceries in your car and seeing your surroundings. I think that is a sort of an elevated mind, because a trained mind, because it's appreciating what's around you. Because as we both know, we will always find what we focus on.
That's true. The way we frame things and the way we look at things, that's why I still find beauty so much in South Africa, and I'm not ready to leave, because you can find beauty wherever you are. You need to get it right within your mindset. And I think that was a very big change that I went through, and that's part of the transformation that I talk about in the book, from being that very, very busy boss lady, type A personality, go-getter, high-powered businesswoman, and to move into that space of doing all those things, but not letting them define you. Being a place where you're at peace, where you look at the beauty around you and you just take it in, and you have time. You have time for everything.
So the book is called Surrendering, but it wasn't so easy to surrender. You had to.
Oh my gosh.
It was quite the process, wasn't it?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it took a lot. It took a lot. When you talk about a dark night of the soul, I've been there. I've done that. That's how. But I look at it with gratefulness, because if it wasn't, my life was great. I was happy. I talk like, I think the first chapter might like antagonize some of the people. Everything is so great. What is this lady talking about? It's like a fairy tale. Everything was great. I was great. I'm an optimistic, happy person. But I think if you stay in the same way for a long time, it's becoming stagnant, and then it's like standing water. It becomes a swamp. You need to have that change. You need to have that up and down to appreciate and to go deeper into your soul and to find who you really are, and grow. I felt that I grew a lot during that period. It took, I think, about 3 years or 4 years. And at the end of the day, I'm me, but I'm different. I'm different. I think I feel better. I feel happier. Not because of something on the outside is happening. I'm happier from the inside. And that's the change, and that's the process.
Yeah. I think that's one of the main messages as well of this book, is that you should not allow outside circumstances define you, because you are not your profession, or you are not what your husband does. You are you. And happiness is an inside job. And when you get to that point, and I think you're an example of that, when you get to this point, you also get to the point where you understand you don't have to be busy all the time. You don't have to have a list of things to do. I think that there lots of people can learn a lot from that, because I think sometimes people feel that if they talk about how busy they are, it makes them sound more important.
Yes. I used that as a shield for the longest time. That's why I used the word shield or an armor, because I used it as a shield. That's how I presented myself. I'm the owner and the creator. I'm this, I'm that. You have to have those labels to make you worthy of being something. But you're worthy just by being you. You don't have to have that resume behind you to be worthy or for people to love you. Actually, I think it's the other way around. When you come with that front, people feel it, that it's not genuine. It's just a part of you that you use as a front. It actually antagonizes people. When you get in touch with who you really are, and that's what you present. When I came to you, I told you I didn't want to talk about World Outdoor Fitness. I didn't want to talk about anyone. I came to find girlfriends. That was my mission. Was my speech on the Global Women Club when I came to you on the first time, because this is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to find myself for me. Because when I asked myself, what do I do for fun? And I was stupefied for days. What do we really do for fun? That is not to keep fit. That is not to do something for our children. That is not for, what are we doing for fun? And I found myself without an answer. And I think a lot of people will find themselves without an answer. And that's sad. That's sad.
Yeah,
that was very sad for me.
I think everybody defines that differently, though. Not everybody looks at. Some people find drinking fun, and then some people find other. But I think again, we're coming back to the inside fun that we have, to the inside job, to actually not need any stimulation to have fun, to just be.
Yes, being rather than doing. That was, I think, the lesson. So we are human beings. We're not human doings. And we now, in this day and age, we define ourselves by doing, not by being.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that meaning, COVID was a because that was the breaking point, but that was a present for me because it forced me to slow down and see who I am outside of these parameters of how I define myself. And it forced me to go in. And I'm very grateful for that because once you go in and you find yourself, that's how you can be happy every day. And that's how you can have a good day every day because it does not lie on any outside circumstances.
You know, when you mentioned COVID, I mean, I notice always at this time of the year, all those Facebook memories come back because it's actually the time of the year that I was locked up in a hotel for 2 weeks in quarantine. And I look back and I think, oh my God, I had such a good time because I didn't need. You see, when you're not allowed to leave your hotel room, that part of having to think, where should I go or should I do that? So it goes, so you can fully concentrate on what happens in this room. And I think that is what COVID taught us. And I think we should create our own little, we don't have to call it COVID, but once in a while we should sit down and maybe just stay in a house or stay somewhere for a few days and be again, instead of do.
I actually felt that most people that I know, we had a huge trauma with COVID. And I find that people swept the emotional and physical and mental effects of COVID under the carpet. It's like it's forgotten. It's gone. Nothing happened. Mm-hmm. No one talks about it. What it did to us as a society, as people, as families. It showed us a lot of ugly things, but also a lot of good things. But we just seem to
ignore it
under the rug and move on.
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't want to talk about it. And I talk about it. I want to talk about it. If I could label it as, I labeled it as mental health, as all kinds of things. I couldn't label COVID because then Amazon will not allow it because it will ban it. My editor told me it will ban it immediately and it will be out of we won't be able to put it on Amazon. But this is definitely about COVID and the effect that it had on us, on me. So I think my whole book, and I was actually very touched when my editor said that to me. I'm not going and saying, you must do that, you must do that, you must do that. I only talk about myself and what I've been through. And if that in any way can shine a light and show someone else a way out from a dark place, then I'm happy, and that's it. I'm not trying to preach nothing to anyone or try to convince them. If it resonates with you, then it will speak to you and you will do. I just give practical steps of what I did.
Yeah, and I think that is the strength of storytelling, because we need to tell our story. We need to tell our stuff, and we can reach people with our stories, and they will find themselves and they will maybe say, oh my God, I'm not the only one who had this or who felt like that. Very often people it's a taboo. They don't want to talk about it, but I think it's very important. There is this famous phrase saying, and I never really know who started saying it, but your story could be somebody else's survival guide.
That's beautiful. I haven't heard that, but that's beautiful. That's basically what I tried to put out there, because I initially I wrote it for myself as a healing process, trying just to get it out of me and trying to understand what happened to me and put it in writing. And when I finished writing it, and I think I told you that, I just saw the way that it's written, that it might help someone else, and especially people like me, that was like me, not necessarily the namaste people and the people who are already mindful, but the type A personalities, the go-getters, the high rung, high energy people, which I was, and very in my head and very logical. Like I write about the yoga retreat, like really, like I'm going open-minded, but hugging trees and doing a chakra dance in the moonlight, I don't know. Let's see about that. But I was that person. And I got to such a breaking point that I was willing to embrace anything and everything to try and help myself. And I think that's why maybe the book, for people that won't necessarily pick it up because it's a mindfulness book, it can actually help, really help, to see a different perspective from someone that's been there and done that.
Wonderful. We're going to put the link in the show notes. Now we're already getting towards the end. Time flies when you're having fun. Most memorable journeys. What else? When you travel, Sarit, what is your favorite place to travel to?
So I think I actually thought about a most memorable journey, because that's the title. So I said to myself, what is my most memorable journey? And I think it's my first solo trip, the one that we already spoke about, to Cyprus. But I think that empowered me, because I was always like a part of a couple or doing stuff only when I was younger, obviously in my 20s, and I traveled and everything. But after being a mom and being with a family and having that family structure, I think my most memorable journey is taking a solo trip. So the first station was Rome. I had, I think, breakfast in Rome, lunch in, I can't remember where it was, and then dinner in Cyprus. Like, I've been to 3 different places with the flight, and I just had a solo trip that really empowered me, because I felt that I can do it by myself. I don't need someone by my side. I don't need someone to entertain me. I don't need someone to guide me where to go. I can just be with myself and do it. And I think having tried that in Cyprus, which is so small and safe, and I could drive at night, just and go out at night by myself and be everywhere by myself as solo traveler. It's by the way, a big community that I joined after doing my solo trip. That was a very memorable and empowering moment for me.
That's interesting. I think when you're a couple and a family, and you forget, because you're always involved and you're always like kind of looking after someone. And I think it's very liberating and beautiful when the kids grow up and you start going somewhere on your own, and you realize that you've done all this work, but now you are a person, your own person again, and you create and meet. I think many people forget that.
Yes, it's absolutely so. I was everybody telling me empty nesting. I'm living the life. Seriously, I think if you do the work beforehand and you prepare, that not your whole life, you make a shift in your mind. Okay, the focus is moving from my kids and my family to myself, which is very pleasant. And I looked for girlfriends, as you know. I started I joined the Global Women Club, and I joined the Traveling Solo after the women traveling solo. And I did all these things to prepare the ground. So when the kids are out, I have things to do, and I know who I am for myself. So there's no empty nest type of breakdown situation. I was dreading it. It was just this December. Well, not really dreading, but it's like preparing for it. And it went smoothly. I came back. I shed a few tears when I said bye-bye, and I left them in Cyprus I think it was the beginning of January. And look at us. I'm in April, and I survived. It's actually been fun.
It is. And I think, I can see it with my kids. Mine are older. You appreciate each other so much more. You cherish the times that you are together so much more. You have stories to tell. And as you say, of course, you prepared yourself. It didn't just happen from one day to the other, because you knew that it was going to happen. And I think that's an important lesson because our children are going to leave, and they should. It's good that they leave, because that's how life is. And then, of course, we always come back, and we always get back together. And I am waiting for you here in Cyprus, and you will be back very soon. And you still have lots and lots, or we still have lots and lots of things to do.
Yes, we're just beginning.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to see you this time and have our fun. Thank you for being my mentor, and thank you. I think we didn't discuss it, but there's no time how I stalked you over the web, found you on Facebook. You were an inspiration to me. And when I actually met you, and you took me to the Global Women Club and showed me that authors are real people, and introduced me to Paul and to Anna Maria and yourself, and that gave me the courage, the ability to actually move forward and publish it. Because, look, it's real people.
Yeah, and I think we often think too much. Thank you for the compliment, but it works both ways. I like the fact that you sometimes shake me up a little bit and tell me that, this is not how it's going to be done. And I love it. I need somebody who tells me once in a while, you are worth so much more than this. I think we all need each other everywhere, and we must use it. We have to use meaningful, beautiful relationships.
Yes, new tribe.
Yeah.
Find people that you're happy to be with, that don't drain your energy, that are kind.
Yeah. And I think that's a good ending to this very beautiful podcast episode. Thank you so much for being on Most Memorable Journeys. Sarit Shavit Qwabe.
Yes.
If you enjoy my podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. You will find all the information in the show notes.